Hello, it's Chris Jolly and it's Bill Rowland here for another PMNS.com podcast sponsored by PMNS.com. We don't have any sponsors.
Great sponsor.
Oh, let's see. And Coke Zero.
Or Vanilla Coke.
Yeah, Vanilla Coke.
Either one.
Yeah, we can't just drink regular Coke. Anyway, a lot going on while we've been going. A lot going on in politics, certainly. Right now, as we speak, Hillary Clinton is getting grilled like mahi-mahi. Hillary getting grilled by the Benghazi House Committee. We don't really know exactly what's going on there. I've heard some sound bites, but a lot of other. Joe Biden and Paul Ryan finally make a decision. I think Paul Ryan has the broad consensus he needs to become Speaker of the House. I don't think the guy really wants the job, but
No, he basically, it's great because everybody wants him to do it. And I guess full disclosure, you've been in the same room as Paul Ryan at some point.
I like that guy.
So we got to be careful in how we approach this. But my thing is I love the fact that he's like, look, I'm only going to take this job if all of you say that you want me to take the job. I'm only going to take this job if I'm still going to be able to go home on the weekends.
Right.
I'm only going to take this job if you agree not to call me when the Packers are on.
Yeah.
I'm only going to take, there's so many things, and yet the Republicans so desperate, like, yeah, sure, that's fine, no problem. Whatever you want to do. You want to take Mondays off as well? Take Mondays off. Whatever you want to do. So it's a little weird, but I guess that's what it's come down to now. Though I don't know how much stronger this makes the Republicans. They got Boehner to step down, but I don't think this is what they ultimately wanted.
No, Ryan's a guy that can appeal to both the conservatives and the establishment. He's one of those few guys. Republicans were hoping Scott Walker was going to be that guy, too, out of Wisconsin. But he's just not... I wouldn't say he's not a leader, because I think he is a leader.
He doesn't care about the stupid game.
Yeah. To me, he's just a budget guy who just wants to work on conservative principles behind the scenes. He doesn't want to get into this Ted Cruz versus Lindsey Graham stuff and all that garbage going on right now.
At least we won't see him crying, though.
We won't see him crying. We won't see him crying unless he misses the Packers game. Right, yeah. Yeah, he's the kind of guy, I kind of follow him out of the corner of my eye. He does. He goes to Packer games. He has, I think, 3 young girls. So
he's a normal guy. He's like most people who just want to go home on the weekend and not worry about what their job is. And that's why I think he'll be okay. But this isn't some groundbreaking event for the Republicans that suddenly they're going to be able to push back anymore because he doesn't want to do that kind of stuff. He doesn't want to have the fights. He's against all of that.
If he was vice president, he could spend a lot of time with his family.
Absolutely.
Like the current vice president who announced he is not running for president. Are you surprised?
A little bit. But I think more surprising was I didn't understand, and I guess it makes sense because technically it's his boss. I didn't understand why he had to make the announcement in the Rose Garden with Obama there. I don't understand what purpose that served to have Obama being there. It would have made more sense if he said he was going to run. Then I understand. Obama's there to kind of help him kick off his campaign. Didn't quite understand why he needed to be there for Biden to basically come out and say, yeah, you know what? I was never in anyway, but I'm out now.
Well, it may have been something where, he considers Obama a friend, I suppose.
Sure.
It may have been something where he still really wants to run, but he just knows it's not the best thing for him. So he just wanted the support of the president. That could be a reason, throwing it out there. It was interesting that he did that, number one. Number two, he's still... From the way he was kind of taking veiled shots at Clinton. In the days coming up to this, people thought he was going to run. The way it sounded like he was kicking off his campaign.
Could he still do it?
He sure could. There's nothing that legally says he can't.
Because here's the thing, and Benghazi, again, I watched maybe 10 minutes of it, 15 minutes of it today because I just can't. I can't sit there because none of them... It seems like want to get to the bottom of it. They all just want to grandstand on either side.
Yeah.
So it drove me nuts. But if the does come down. And there was an interesting thing that came out of it. I was reading one of the guys from the Weekly Standard had written a column that I pulled up, and they were talking about how there is significant evidence now that Clinton was lying about this whole thing being about a video.
Yeah.
A conversation she had with the Egyptian Prime Minister less than 24 hours after it happened, that was notated by her staff while she was on the phone. They're taking notes. Basically, she said this was an organized terrorist attack. An email to her daughter said this was an organized terrorist attack, yet 3 days later, when the bodies are back at Dover, the Air Force Base, she turns to the family members and says, this was about a video that spiraled out of control. We're going to get the filmmaker for this. And the guy, one of the Marines' fathers, or the Green Berets' father, said, I knew she was lying to me.
Yeah.
That's huge. If that penetrates at all on any level to the average voter, she could be in trouble. At that point, Biden might look at it and say, hey, you know what? Maybe I should get back into this.
I'm not sure it matters, though, because I think we've been down that road before. I think unless you're not paying attention, which half of them aren't.
Thank you. A lot of people aren't paying attention.
Most of them aren't. Anyone who is paying attention, the Libya CIA station chief, the day of, said it was a terrorist attack.
Right.
There was no doubt with the evidence we have that anyone thought it was anything but, or the video. There was no evidence the video had anything to do with anything. And Obama and Clinton and all of them went right out there and just threw America on the bus and apologized. Spent time, justifying a video.
Right. That had nothing to do
to
with
be honest, we shouldn't have to justify our freedom of speech in any case like this. But the point is, I don't know if Clinton was as linked to that as Obama and Susan Rice were.
But that's my thing. She may be now.
Exactly.
With the email to her daughter.
Yeah.
And the conversation that she had with the Egyptian Prime Minister that's coming out now. Maybe if people are paying more attention, perhaps it could dent her a little bit. Now, I doubt it because it may get lost in all the other... There's so much.
It already has.
Yeah.
It already has. And it's hard to tell what's going on with the email as opposed to Benghazi, as opposed to what else with Blumenthal was going on, and this and that and that. So I think it'll boil down to, like you say, the annoying sound bites both of them are making.
That's the only thing is if somebody wants to really go after her, they've got to make this story stick and talk about how she can't be trusted. If they can't do that, because again, the Sidney Blumenthal thing, she brought up Blumenthal today before anybody else did.
Right.
So, I mean, she's not dumb. She's going to be able to put up her defense for all of this.
Right.
I'm sure it's been rehearsed over and over and over again. The question is, will she come across as believable?
Yeah.
And if she doesn't, then all of a sudden, maybe Biden looks and says, hey, I got to jump in here at the last minute. I don't know.
Could be. But it's so
I would say
hard
less
to
than
do that
10%
money-wise.
chance.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the money nowadays that makes that so hard to do.
Now the question is, can Bernie Sanders do anything? And the latest polls show that he's kind of, I think, hit his ceiling.
Yeah,
as far as support.
Clinton got a bump from the debate, first of all. She got about I saw anything from a 7 to 10 point bump nationally.
Right.
And
which really doesn't mean anything because it's not the states, but yeah.
No, but she's, I think they're still neck and neck in New Hampshire, and she's still got, the money, and she's still got the super delegates and all that. So, I mean, it's doubtful. I mean, if I was to put a percentage on it, 90% chance for the nomination.
Yep.
So, she's breathing a lot easier now because she's had a good week since the debate in the polls, and Joe Biden apparently is not going to come out and challenge her. So,
Hillary, and I think that hurt Sanders more than it helped Hillary because Hillary was already leading. And if Biden gets in, there's a chance that there's a divide money-wise, support-wise, and maybe Sanders can somehow wedge his way in. It becomes a three-way race.
Right.
And the young kids all love Bernie Sanders and are abandoning Hillary.
Did you see the Larry David impersonation?
That was very good.
That was very good. I was surprised. I didn't even know he was that good at impersonations. That was great. But yeah, I agree completely with you. I mean, Biden hurts Sanders more than it helps Hillary.
Yeah.
But that's all she needs at this point. So we'll see. I mean, she's still out there. FBI investigation ongoing. So we'll see what happens.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is. So that's about it. Politics, we got. That's about the crux of it.
Trump's going to go on SNL here in the next couple of weeks. He'll probably kill it because he's used to being a TV guy. To me, I think this is shaping up to it's going to be Trump versus Carson. I just can't see how Jeb sticks around in this thing, except that he's got a bunch of money.
Yeah. And since we've came to you last, Rubio and Bush are really starting to face off now because they realize they kind of got to get rid of one another before they can stand on a platform big enough to see Trump or Carson. So we'll see what happens. I mean, if an establishment candidate can get some of these guys out sooner rather than later, I think you're still going to have enough of a balance early enough where some establishment candidate will be there till the end. Bush will be there towards the end just because he's got the money. He's got a couple big donors still. But it's interesting. I wish I knew what was going to happen.
I wouldn't be shocked, though, if it ends up being a Bush or Rubio or even Trump if Carson ends up on the ticket. Because he seems to me to be one of those guys that, okay, if he doesn't win a nomination, you're not going to hurt yourself by throwing him in as the VP.
Yeah.
You know, he would be perfectly fine as
Trump,
the vice president.
Trump just selecting Trump's vice presidential candidate would be, because it could be anything from Marco Rubio to Arsenio Hall. You just don't know.
I don't know if Arsenio would agree to do it, but yeah, I mean,
you
like
don't
that.
know. Well, he was on his show.
Right.
I used to watch that show. I don't anymore. I watched like 2 seasons of it.
Yeah.
But that would be fascinating. I mean, it's the same thing for me. The same thing. I don't really like Hillary Clinton, but just to see Bill as first lady, the same thing is I don't really want Trump, but I'd love to see. It's just curiosity. My curiosity
just to see him walk if he's meeting some foreign delegate and gets pissed off, he just gets up and walks out like he would do in a boardroom.
Yeah.
Just you can't do that as president, but he probably would.
Yeah.
Maybe we need that.
All right. We'll move on. We'll move on to movies. It's, as we've mentioned many times, it's a great time of year for movies too. I've been going to the movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been seeing all of the movie just because I don't have time. There's so many I see. And I'm one of these movie theater jumpers that'll go from theater to theater before the usher shines his light on me and then chases me out, and I'm eating my popcorn as I'm running out the door, trying to get out of there. But pretty good movies. Last week, did you ever read any Goosebumps? We're probably too old.
No, I think it missed. We were too old, and the kids at my house too young.
Oh yeah,
so you missed that whole.
I think its wheelhouse was kind of early '90s to mid '90s when the young adult, like preteen.
Right.
Good movie. I mean, I didn't watch the whole thing. Funny.
Okay.
I've been told by people that read Goosebumps it's great because obviously they're older now.
Sure.
But a lot of the monsters, because the series was known for its monsters, the creative monsters. A lot of them, are in this movie, and Jack Black is in it, and it's. I enjoyed it. I was laughing a bunch, and I've never read a Goosebumps book in my life.
Okay.
So that's out there. That was number one. A little disappointing. Well, Bridge of Spies is getting good reviews. Wasn't disappointed. I thought, and I was like, when this came out, I'm like, yeah, Spielberg and Hanks. I'm sure it'll be very good.
The World War II.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a history guy,
right?
And it is very good. And it's Spielberg does nuance better than anyone. Kind of where the conflicting, black and white comes into gray.
Right.
In this case, it's this lawyer who's defending a Russian, that everybody wants to hang in the country, and they should want to hang But, Spielberg makes it, seeing both sides of things.
Sure.
It's good. I mean, it's just a good piece on the Cold War. A little slow, a little long.
It's a good adult movie. 45
Oh, it's
plus.
all adult movies. Yeah, yeah. Like I'd show this in a history class to middle schoolers and high schoolers, but half of them would be bored, even though it's funny too. It's got some humor. It's good. It's very good. And then the disappointing one was Crimson Peak, which debuted 5th. That's a Guillermo del Toro horror movie. It only got like $12 million. I mean, it's a gothic horror piece.
Right.
I mean, I was a little disappointed. I mean, he's the kind of guy that Hollywood loves, but doesn't necessarily rake in the dough. He did Pacific Rim, which a lot of people, the robots versus monsters.
Right.
People loved it that saw it. They're into that kind of thing. But, you know, I mean, it didn't make a hell of a lot of money. It's a niche kind of, he's a niche kind of guy. Crimson Peak, you know, a ghost story, a haunted house story. I mean, you know, I liked it. It just didn't seem like beneath the surface there was much there. But,
Gotcha.
But anyway, this week, and we'll move on real quick. This week there's Vin Diesel, The Last Witch Hunter.
Yeah, you know what? I've seen the previews.
Michael Caine.
I know.
Can't be that bad.
I know. But I can't buy Vin Diesel as I mean, that's where it falls apart for me. I just go, there wasn't anybody else I could have gotten?
I'm just past Vin Diesel, basically. And
Maybe
I love
that's
the Fast and Furious movies are good. I enjoy them. They're just stupid fun. But, you know, I'm just a little...
But we're supposed to take him serious now.
I mean, yeah. So we'll see. That comes out. Goosebumps, Gem and the Holograms. You remember that one?
Sure.
Okay, yeah, that is in our wheelhouse in the 80s when Hasbro was putting cartoons. I mean, their big one was Transformers and stuff.
Well, yeah, but Gem of the Holograms, I think, was...
Maybe it's Mattel.
Was basically... They made the show just so they could sell toys.
Absolutely.
I mean, that was one of the first ones of...
Absolutely.
What can we do to sell toys? It wasn't like, hey, we've got, you know, I don't know, the Star Wars movie's great. Hey, let's make a bunch of action figures. This was like the first, we're going to actually create these toys, and now we're going to build a show around.
Yep. And I'll tell you what, there is no way this movie, I'd be shocked if it cleared $10 million.
Who's even in it?
I mean,
no.
Oh, I don't even know. Young, you know.
Yeah, but I know there was
actresses,
some Disney actress that...
I mean, I can see a couple of 45-year-old moms going to see it, but I mean, I can't see
dragging their
girls.
preteen kids to it.
I mean, I can't see young girls going out to see it. I mean, it just, you know, whatever. I certainly won't see it. That's one of those, I got to be careful because I go a lot of times.
Right.
I roll out of bed here and I go to the movie theater in sweatpants and an undershirt.
Do it for
I can't go in there. Yeah,
no.
50 Shades of Grey. I took a lot of heat for just doing that.
No.
Magic Mike.
Sure.
I saw the second Magic Mike. But anyway, enough about that. The bigger movies that you're excited about, and I don't know. I hope Rock the Casbah is in wide release.
Have you seen the trailers now?
I have. Yeah.
Does it not look?
It looks
great.
Good. I'm not sure it's getting good reviews though. The early reviews.
Well, that's fine. I'll be there. I'll watch it.
You're gonna go see it?
Yeah, of course. A furry movie. Of course, I'm gonna go see it.
Nice.
I will laugh because just watching the trailer. I just laugh every time I see him. I'm like, this is
he's
going to
the
be
kind
great.
of guy you can put him in a room here. If this was the podcast, and he just look at the camera like this, and he'd be like,
"Oh, exactly."
Yeah, he's one of those guys.
It's gonna be fantastic.
And then Steve Jobs.
Yeah, no thanks. I won't be seeing that.
Yeah, I am gonna see that. I want to see if it's better than the other ones out of curiosity. Getting good reviews. I think you're selling Aaron Sorkin. He's a guy, and you mentioned it last time. He'll show your flaws. Like he showed Mark Zuckerberg's flaws on camera. So we'll see. It's getting good buzz. We'll see. I'll go see that. You gave me Casbah.
All right.
And then we'll
do
back
it.
next
Absolutely.
week. Okay, good ones. Biggest one coming is Skyfall in a couple weeks. That'll do a hell of a business. And let's go on about some movies from the 80s that you may remember. First of all, Star Wars pre-sales crashed everybody's movie sites. So
I don't understand. I guess I'm not a geek enough about it. Why is it so important to be there the moment it comes out?
I don't understand.
I'll go see it 3 weeks afterwards.
Only from a movie reviewing standpoint do I do that.
guess.
I don't understand it all. I didn't even watch the second trailer because I don't like to see more than one trailer, to be honest. I mean, I heard it didn't give anything away or anything like that, but Monday Night Football was just an awful game this week. I couldn't watch it for more than 20 minutes, the Eagles and the Giants.
And then everybody stuck around for the...
Yeah. And so it crashed movie sites. That's coming out in December.
And the other thing that people are all freaking out about is, I guess years ago, there was the Kevin Smith TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Five for Dinner or whatever it was called, right? What the name of it or whatever it was. And I guess at one point there was an episode. Mark Hamill was on it. J.J. Abrams was on it.
Right.
I forget who else was there at the time, but everybody's pulled this episode back up because Mark Hamill talks about how he thought it would have been cool, and he even suggested it to George Lucas of Luke Skywalker turning completely to the dark side. As he said, full on dark side. So now everybody's like, oh, that's what's going to happen in this movie. That's what's Luke's going to happen. And I don't know, maybe. I don't know. But then this is where I lose it with Star Wars. And I know that the geeks out there are going to hate me for this. I don't care what books were written outside the movies. I don't care what your quote-unquote canon says that he's some side of, was it Relo Kino? I don't know, whatever.
Kylo Ren.
Yes, that. So you know what I'm talking about.
I go to the toy stores a lot.
Yeah, Kylo Ren is this offshoot of Vader worshippers, and they use the dark side of the Force, and that's what Luke is. And just, I don't want to read that much into it. And if they present that in the movie, I think they're going to lose a lot of people.
Yeah, I don't really want to get into any of that. I mean, first we had the Black Stormtrooper, which I don't even get since anyone could dress up as a Stormtrooper.
Yeah,
I don't know why it matters. I mean, all the Stormtroopers were originally clones. I guess it had something to do with that. Didn't understand. People upset about that, apparently.
Because here's the thing. You see a Stormtrooper, you don't see him with his helmet on. For all we know, they could have all been Hispanic Stormtroopers.
I don't know.
We don't know. They could have been Japanese Stormtroopers.
Yeah.
We don't know.
I don't know. I mean, Luke Skywalker put on the helmet when he went into the Death Star the first time.
There you go.
I didn't understand that. Someone can maybe explain it to me. Then you had something about, I think, how J.J. Abrams is anti-conservative. And, it'll be a metaphor like, the second Star Trek movie was, like about the Bush administration or whatever. I just don't care about any of that.
Right.
Everyone I saw, everybody I know is excited about the movie. I just can't get into it pre-sale.
Yeah.
I can't invest in it in October.
Yeah, I'll see it in January after everybody has seen it 5 times. And all the geeks have stopped seeing it.
I'll see it then. But anyway, the other thing was, yesterday was Back to the Future
That's
Day.
correct.
October 21st,
yes,
2015.
Correct.
And everybody talking about, how the future is nothing like it was portrayed in Back to the Future 2.
Great job on Jimmy Kimmel, by the way, of having Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd come on and do Marty McFly and Doc. It was fantastic. They did a great job basically talking about how 2015 sucks. Yeah. It was very well done. The thing that was annoying about yesterday...
Nerds!
Well, yes, but the people that wanted to be those nerds but had it wrong.
Oh, yeah.
And, Darren Rovell was one of them.
Oh, yeah.
Bill Hemmer, who I love from Fox, was another one. There was about 4:30 yesterday afternoon on my Twitter timeline. I'm not kidding. There must have been 20 to 25 people that all at the same time were like, "Oh, it's Back to the Future," and I was like, "No, you were 3 hours too soon."
LA,
because it's California.
Yeah.
And it's like if you're going to be that geeky about the movie, you should realize it was California time and not East Coast time.
That's true.
So I was a little annoyed by that. I did see also, and I forget because I follow a bunch of these, entertainment and pop culture Twitter sites, so I don't know which one it was. But one of them had a letter from the studio company talking about the changes that they wanted to have made to Back to the Future, and one of them was the title.
Yeah.
And they wanted to call it Spaceman from Pluto. And they had all these bullet points of how you could fit Spaceman from Pluto into the movie. And they're like, it'll be hot, it'll be hip. And it was like, oh, thank God they didn't win. That's a horrible name for a movie.
It's terrible. I mean, I guess that was when he shows up in the radiation suit.
And he says, and they talk about the book that George is reading. Instead of it being whatever it was from the Man from the Moon, or I don't remember exactly what the book was. It would be Spaceman from Pluto. There's a couple other references where it would be Spaceman from Pluto rather than what it was. And it was like, no, thank God you lost that argument because that's
Back to the Future is a great title name. It's one of the
perfect.
best title names I can think of.
Yes.
In my adult life.
Yes.
So. And that was Zemeckis too, wasn't it? Or
Could you imagine Huey Lewis having to sing about a spaceman from Pluto?
Gonna be a spaceman from Pluto.
Horrible.
Yeah,
he was there at Kimmel last night as well.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
Oh,
very
nice,
funny. Very funny cameo.
Well, Back to the Future is one of the better movies. I guess this is really, again, talking about Back to the Future 2, right?
Yeah,
At the end of Back to the Future 1, they maybe show that date. I don't remember.
Yeah, no, it's 2. It's not from 1. And the funny thing was, and people don't talk about this as much, again, being a little bit geeky, Back to the Future 2 came out in 1989.
Right.
Still based in 1985.
Right.
Which was a little strange.
Because they leave right at the end.
Right, and then go forward. And the first 3 is when they go back to the 1800s.
Yeah, you're being a little geeky.
Sorry.
You're always ragging on the geeks.
I know.
All right.
I know.
Well, let's move on to something Bill is geeky about. He's a baseball geek. So, and we talked about the baseball playoffs last time. They're obviously in full gear. Cubs, we hardly knew.
Wow.
That was great. Yeah, because I hated listening to all the Chicago people. I can't stand listening. Chicago, I've been waiting so long. I'm the #1 Cubs fan.
Yeah, but I felt bad.
The Bears suck.
We were talking about Rock the Cash Ball earlier. I felt bad for Bill Murray because he was in New York at one of the first couple of games. I feel bad because guys like that aren't the bandwagon, jump on the Cubs because
he's an actual fan, but I don't feel bad for him or Jeremy Piven or the less talented Belushi. Guy that's still alive. I don't feel sorry for any of them because I hate seeing you talk about it and how much it means to you, okay? I don't want to hear about it. What about the ordinary Cubs fan?
Well, I feel bad for them, too.
I don't feel bad for them. They're a bunch of jackasses. I'm a Milwaukee. Full disclosure.
That's why you hate them. See.
Full disclosure. I was born in Milwaukee, and I hate all the Chicago people that come up to Milwaukee with their money, waving their money around like they own the place.
Buying your women.
Yeah. So in fairness, I don't like Chicago people, but I just don't want to hear the celebrities. They're a cursed team. People were even when they were down 3-0, they were like, 2004 Red Sox!
Oh, yeah, that wasn't...
Ain't gonna happen. No. You're done. You're gone. But you got a bright future.
Oh, they're going to be good. Oh, yeah. They're going to be very, very good. Like I've said it over and over again. This team, they're going to be a problem for a lot of people the next few years because, I think Theo Epstein has done a remarkable job putting together, and they have so much young talent.
Yeah, they do. Just put Chris Bryant next to Soler and Rizzo. That's enough right there.
And then you add in Addison Russell, and Castro,
and they got more
Baez.
coming. They got more coming down there. So when they're in the thick of it next year, they can sell off some of that farm system.
Well, that's the thing is, I wouldn't be shocked to see them move a couple of these young guys in the offseason for another. Yeah. They need another pitcher.
Well, that's what I was going to say. The Mets overwhelmed them with their rotation, which to me still was a little bit surprising with Lester and Arrieta. Mm-hmm. But they really did. The Mets wrote that pitching in baseball.
Yeah.
That's where it all starts. And the Mets, I never would have thought. You never would have thought. The Mets, the Cubs were 7-0 against the Mets during the regular season.
I know.
For the Mets to have swept them, it's surprising.
The weird thing was the Cubs basically gave away a couple of those games.
They did.
It wasn't like you think back to I don't know. I saw that this was now only the 6th or 7th time in Major League Baseball history that a team swept another won all 4 games and never trailed.
Right.
And it reminded me of going back and thinking about it. It was like the 2004 Red Sox playing the Cardinals in the World Series, where the Cardinals didn't give the Red Sox any of those games by making blunders. The Red Sox just pummeled them into submission.
Yeah.
The Cubs had their chances in this game, but just kept bumbling it and giving it away. So I'm still not sure how good the Mets are because the Dodgers kind of did the same thing.
I know.
And by the way, anybody...
You do wonder because the Cubs are as good as they are with their young talent. They arrived a year earlier than people thought.
Absolutely.
And the Dodgers still a little iffy. with their lineup
and they
as well.
They fired their manager.
I mean, you're hitting Justin Turner cleanup.
Right.
I mean, anytime you're hitting Justin Turner, he's a good player, obviously, but do you hit him cleanup? I mean, so you do wonder how good the Mets are.
Right.
And we said, the NL is probably the stronger of the leagues. The Mets did come up on
absolutely.
top. So.
All credit to them because they won the National League. But a couple of things before we go over to the American League side.
Mm-hmm.
One, I don't care who you root for in baseball, there will be a team out there that's going to overpay for Daniel Murphy. I'm telling you that right now. He's had a remarkable run. It's like Carlos Beltran. It's better than Carlos Beltran back in 04.
5 straight homers, right?
I think it's 6 now.
Oh,
Got
6.
another one late last night.
Wow.
So he's on an unbelievable tear. That is not who he is. If you're out there and you're a general manager of a team and you sign him 5-6 years at $14, $15 million per, and you're expecting to get 25, 30 home runs a season for Daniel Murphy, you're going to be sorely disappointed, and your fan base is going to hate you for it.
Right.
I feel bad for him because he seems to be a nice guy and he's having an unbelievable run.
I don't feel bad for him. He's going to be a rich man.
Right. But the thing is, he'll never live up to the expectation of the next contract.
Right.
And people will vilify him for that, and it won't be fair.
Yeah, it depends where he goes. I've heard some talks the Yankees might be interested. I mean,
have at it.
If that happens, I mean, yeah, the expectations are going to be ridiculous.
But the Mets, just to give you an idea, the Mets are not going to re-sign him.
Right. They've already kind of said that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So that should tell you everything you need to know. He's a guy who's carried them through the playoffs, and even they look at him and go, this isn't you. This is a nice 2 or 3 week you.
Yeah.
This isn't a 162 game you.
Well, they're not complaining about it because basically their team is starters and whatever they can get on offense. And they're getting a hell of a lot on offense from Mr. Murphy. So, well, we'll go to the American League. It's kind of like we said. We both like Toronto coming out of that matchup earlier. And we both thought Kansas City would squeak by the Astros, which they did. I was conflicted. I thought my heart and my head were saying different things with Toronto and Kansas City. 2 games left. Kansas City still up 3-2. Still time. It certainly wouldn't be shocking to see the Blue Jays come in there. You just get the feeling, like I said on our earlier podcast, though, that just the Royals experienced last year. They're ready now. We'll see what happens. We probably, at this point, have to expect Kansas City does win one of those games, obviously.
Yeah, I would think so, mainly because they're back at home, and that Kauffman Stadium, way different than hitting the Rogers Center.
Absolutely.
And that kind of hurt Toronto in the first couple of games of that series. Kansas City did what they had to do. That was go to Toronto and win one. And they won one, and they bludgeoned Toronto in that game. In fact, Cliff Pennington had to come in, first ever position player to pitch in the postseason.
Yep.
Full-time position player. Everybody goes, what about Babe Ruth?
Right.
Full-time position player.
Right.
I think when they get back to Kansas City, in that game 6 and 7, I guess, or Friday, Saturday, this week, taping this on Thursday, I think Kansas City they do what they do so well, and they can have their offense. They're not reliant on the long ball.
No.
You saw them when they came back and beat Toronto. The game 2, I think, in Kansas City, when it all started with the bloop that fell in behind second, and then it was single, double, steal, sack. I mean, it was just like, you understand with Toronto when they get a big 3-run home run, you go, Josh Donaldson's crushing the ball. This is just, they kill you so slowly, and then you look up and you go, how did they score 5 runs that inning? And it's over, and they do it better than anybody else.
Yeah, they do. They manufacture runs like no one else. And they're going to be up against the Mets. And that was kind of the thing with the Cubs. They weren't really known as fastball hitters, which is kind of odd with their young talent.
Yeah.
Like I know Chris Bryant was, but they'll be up against, I assume, the Mets. Definitely up against the Mets. But I assume if Kansas City comes through, who do you like in a Kansas City Mets
I like,
hypothetical now?
I still like Kansas City because, oddly enough, they play National League type ball.
They do.
Better than a lot of National League type teams. And the fact that I think while the Mets starting rotation has been unbelievable, and if you get to the 8th inning, they can throw Tyler Clippard, and then Familia. Even in the 7th, they can throw Clippard in the 7th, and Familia can go 8th and 9th if they need to. They've already done that with him getting more than 3 out saves. But they don't have the depth that if something happens and one of their starters gets knocked around early, I don't know that they can then go to their bullpen, say in the 5th inning, 6th inning, and survive against Kansas City. Where the Royals, all they need is their starters to get through 5 or 6, and that bullpen's so good.
I tend to agree.
I like Kansas City probably in like 6 games.
I tend to agree. I got to go with Kansas City, although in the playoffs you never know. Anything like Madison Bumgarner he got last year. Madison Bumgarner did it almost himself last year. One of the best performances of all time. Certainly Jacob deGrom or one of these Mets
or
pitchers,
Harvey,
2 of them,
or
3 of them could go along the same way, and they could take out the Royals. But I kind of felt like this at the start of the playoffs. I just felt like the Royals are ready, and it's their time. And even though Ned Yost really can't manage that well, which is an amazing thing. I guess if they win the World Series, we got to admit he is a decent manager, which just...
if he gets there, that's 2 straight years. He must be doing something right.
He's doing something right. So I did say at the beginning of the year, that team was getting overlooked.
Nobody was talking about
They were picking them 3rd and 4th. I was like, you don't have to pick them to get to the World Series, but did you see what just happened last year? This is a team built for the stadium they play in.
Yep.
That they've got talent, young talent, top to bottom, not so much young anymore, middle-aged talent in their 20s. I know as a Brewers fan, it started with when the Brewers acquired Zach Greinke from them.
Then they got Escobar and Lorenzo Cain.
Yeah,
and a couple of guys, Jake Odorizzi.
Went to Tampa.
They flipped him in the Will Myers trade.
Exactly. So it's a foundation, and the GM there, obviously.
That's GM and the assistant,
Yeah, that's been built over time, and I think it's a foundation that's going to pay off this year. So, but we'll see. I'll tell you this. It's been as entertaining as I can remember.
They've been really good games.
God bless. Did you see the Texas-Toronto game?
Yeah.
That was the damnedest inning I've ever seen in my life, bar none. Because they had the weird play where Texas scored the run where Russell Martin hit the batter on the throwback.
Right.
Then, literally, the bottom half of the inning, Toronto got on 3 straight errors by Texas on routine plays. I've never seen a choke like it before. It was Bautista and his bat flip grand slam.
Right.
It was one of the most entertaining. I haven't watched all that much playoff baseball this year, but when I've turned it on, It's very
a lot of fun. Look, the drama's been way better than the NFL's had.
The NFL is just, if you're one of those teams, those 5-have team, what is it now? The Panthers, the Packers, the Patriots, the Broncos by some miracle.
Yeah.
Cincinnati's been a lot more impressive than we thought they'd be.
Yep.
Got to give them credit there. But if like you always say, the rest is pretty much a crapshoot, although your picks are still going well. But the rest...
week to week,
Yes, but your picks, your sport NFL picks with the spread are still going well. But a lot of it's such a crapshoot, you know? So we'll see with the NFL. We'll see where it goes. But you're looking at Packers and Patriots in the Super Bowl as far as most people can see right now. Colts almost had something going, and Chuck Pagano, who we used to write about extensively as a phenomenal-looking coach, now kind of looks, again, the damnedest thing I ever saw in baseball turned into the damnedest thing I've ever seen in football the other night with that play.
Yeah, again, Pat McGee, their punter, McAfee, their punter, had said he wasn't supposed to snap the ball. He came out and kind of explained what was supposed to go on, and it's like, okay, well, how does that happen then? That if he wasn't supposed to snap it, yet he snapped it. He's sitting there looking. There are 3 Patriots in front of him. You either turn and call timeout, or you just take the 5. There's no way that they could have thought, hey, this is going to work.
I thought it was mass contagious concussions syndrome.
Something.
I didn't know what it was. It scared me. I was upset by it. I didn't know what was happening. I had to look outside and just look around after I saw that play. I didn't know what was going on. I thought, people were... I didn't know what was going on.
Did you see, and it was fantastic, and these guys do it all the time, the guys who do the Super Tecmo Bowl.
Yes, I did see that.
Replay of it where they drew it up and it has the...
I know.
WTF punt, a fake punt.
Yeah.
They select that one because I don't know. I mean, again, they're better programmers than I am, but to get the whole line to shift.
I know.
Like they did.
I know.
It was phenomenal. Seek that out, by the way.
God bless those guys that do pointless things like that just to make us laugh. So anyway.
So good.
Well, okay. Well, looking up, we got, it's a busy fall. We're going to be busy. Politics, movies, and sports is busy until, NBA starts up this week.
Yep.
I mean,
we're basketball in 3 weeks.
Yeah, I got to get some articles on the website. I've been sub teaching long term for a bunch of middle school animals. No, you're not. In case you see this, you're not animals. I'm just giving you grief. But I've been busy. I got to get going on this stuff because it's politics, it's movies, it's sports,
lots of stuff.
It's all over the place.
Yep.
So we'll hit you guys back soon. In the meantime, I'm Chris Jolly. This is Bill Rowland. This is the PMNS.com podcast. We'll speak to you soon. Bye. Bye-bye.